What's up, senseis? It's your boy Kaz at Midnite Lights Gaming, bringing you my next installment where I'm doing all of the goals for all of the levels in Sifu. This one I'm covering is ranked Downpour. At the museum, which is getting 17,500 points. In the museum, I'm going to give you everything you need to do that. I've really been enjoying these goals, so let's get into it. I just don't want to be around people who have blades for shoes. Like, if I see someone with blades for shoes, I'm gonna I don't want to F with this person. I assume you have blades on your shoes because you're trying to hurt someone. That's what blades on the shoes tells me. So again, this is ranked Downpour. I'm doing it in Disciple difficulty, and it's in the museum where, every level has these kinds of goals where you need to get a certain amount of points. And of course, if you get the highest one, you're going to get the ones below that. So we're aiming for 17,500 with no modifiers or changes. And you can do it on any difficulty level. I just do it on Disciple difficulty. Here are all the goals that I'm going to go over to maximize your points. I won't go through each one now. They're pretty similar for all my points-based goal guides, so good to know that. The first one is he knows it's a multipass. So this one is really just understanding your multiplier and making the most of your multiplier and how to keep it up. You probably know most of this already, but let's do some multiplier basics. Quite simply, the more damage you do, the higher your multiplier. You can get up to a ×3 multiplier, but not more than that. When you're at a ×3 multiplier, every hit you do is going to do a lot more points. It's pretty obvious. If you take any damage, you're going to go down to a ×1 multiplier, and then you need to work it back up to a ×3 as quickly as possible. Now, there are some things you can do to sort of boost your multiplier that don't involve doing damage. So let's go over those. The first thing and more risky of the two is taunting. So taunting will boost your multiplier by 1. If you have a little time and space, I definitely recommend it. The second one is the Mighty Cowbit. So this can be found in the museum, and there's a ton of YouTube videos on it, so I'm not going to go over all of it, but the Mighty Cowbit is a focus move you can unlock actually in the museum, and it will bring your multiplier right to 3. So if you have focus bars, which are good to invest in for points reasons, but all of that will help you get your multiplier up and keep it up. Goal number 2 is Cowabunga. Let's get into that one. So Cowabunga is really my rally cry to remind you to keep the momentum going, to keep your pace up. You can see next to the ×1 multiplier, there's your multiplier meter, which will increase as you do damage and decrease while you, of course, get hit. But while you just stand still or don't do damage, you've got to keep your doing damage to keep the meter up. And to prevent it from going down. And the reason I offer this goal, which again may seem obvious, is because I think pacing is really important for the goals. Some goals you can take your time, practice patience, move around, recalibrate, but to keep a multiplier up and to keep your points going, you have to be doing damage all the time when you're engaged in combat. Of course, between rooms, it'll stay at whatever multiplier you ended the last combat in. The next goal, y'all, is everyone in every room.
Everyone, and I mean everyone. Manis and petties at the mall.
So in order to get all of the points you need to hit this goal, you're going to have to take on every fighter in every room. That means and includes the person who's protecting the Mighty Cowbit. That means and includes everyone. No shortcuts. You can't jump to the end, and you wouldn't want to because you need all the points possible. So that means those twins at the end of the level and all those fun colored rooms that you do on your way to Kuroki. Cruising number 4, thin them out and milk them out.
I am Puss in Boots.
Yeah, so definitely stick around for the full playthrough after these tips, because you're going to see that I basically played this in a way that allowed me to get the amount of points I needed, but not break any records for numbers of points on this level. So that meant that when I got into a room with a lot of enemies, I had a weapon, I had a knife, or I had a bat, and I just tried to thin them out. I didn't care about takedowns or trying to milk as many points as I could. I just wanted to get to the point where I was down to 3 or 4 fighters and then I could really milk the points. But I found that the more I tried to milk points in groups with tons of people, the more I would get hit, and my sort of bar there, my points bar would go down. So all this to say that in rooms with big groups, you want to thin them out, you want to take out guys quick and fast, and then you want to milk them. So when there's 3 or 4, then you really milk them for as many points as you can. Step number 5 is you've got some urges and some instincts and some habits you're going to have to fight in order to get all these points. There are 2 primary things you're probably used to doing that you're going to need to hold back on. And the first one is resist your urge to take down. Unless you're clearing out a big room early on, like from the last tip I just gave, you just want to fight the urge to take down. Every bit of damage you do is more points. When you take someone down, it can rob you of opportunities to get more points. So resist the urge to take down, my friends. Now the second urge you need to fight, the second sort of instinct, is using weapons. Now I'll be the first to admit I sort of got this goal by accident. I wasn't intending on getting all of these points this early on. I was just doing a playthrough, so I used a weapon a lot. But you want to fight your urge to use a weapon. Just don't use a weapon all of the time like I do in this run through, because weapons do more damage than your fists. Or take away more of their life, and I'm pretty sure, and let me know in the comments if I'm wrong here, if you rely more on your fists and less on weapons, you're going to get more points because guys will stay alive longer because you're not doing as much damage as you would with weapons. So fight your urge to use weapons all the time. Getting towards the end, second to last tip is take turns.
If I wanted to bring a large number of deviled eggs, but I didn't want to share them with anyone else, can you guarantee fridge space?
While Ron Swanson's not so good at taking turns and sharing, we are. And what I mean by take turns is that we want to take every opportunity we can to get guys to turn into fire rage mode. So again, fire rage mode is this thing you're seeing now for some B-roll in the club where you go to take a guy down, a fighter down, and they block you, they prevent the takedown, they get all their life back and become a more difficult fighter. These fighters, because they get all of their life back and because they're more challenging, seem to give you a lot of points. So in fact, you actually want guys to turn. Now you'll see in my run through, I used a weapon too much and I didn't get anybody. I don't think I got anyone to turn into fire rage mode. So you want to do a bit better than I do in the playthrough, and put in the comments where you know there are fighters who turn into fire and rage mode. That will help the viewers out a lot. My 7th and final tip is a good run. This is really just everything needs to kind of come together for you to get these points totals. And so if you are having a crappy run early on, I just want to encourage you to restart. Every point matters. This one's more forgiving than the club for sure. As you can see, I went through it with a weapon the whole time and still got it. But a lot of that was because my multiplier was at ×3 for the majority of the entire run through. So with that in mind, what I mean by a good run is 2 things. One, you need a little bit of luck, you need a lot of skill, and you'll get the points. So, you know, it's going to take some patience. You might not get it the first try, but also just be sure to restart if you start on a bad run or a bad form, because you're going to kind of know, you're going to get a sense of like, I'm doing a lot better. But of course, please feel free to follow along with my run through next, which you should stay tuned for, because it'll give you a benchmark to aim for. And my point total was pretty close to the goal, so it's a really good benchmark. My point totals throughout the entire video are a great benchmark for you to follow and kind of keep tabs on to know if you're on pace. Here we are, wonderful senseis, the full playthrough and commentary of the ranked Downpour goal, where you need to get 17,500 points in one run through with the museum. Let's get into it. There are so many visuals in the museum that you should check out and be a fan of. There's so many allusions to the boss's life history, their twin, sister. There's just so much cool stuff I encourage you to like take a look at throughout this level. It's definitely the like most aesthetically pleasing level, I think. So you can see from the beginning, remember one of the tips I have here, and you should check out the tips and tips video for sure, is that you shouldn't use a weapon. It does too much damage, and I'm pretty sure you can milk more points with just your fists, but I got this goal by accident. It was an early run through. I wasn't aiming to get this goal, and I ended up getting it even though I used weapons. Now the advantage to using weapons a lot though is that by doing more damage and thinning fighters out more quickly, you are probably going to keep your multiplier at ×3. So there's this real balance of like, wanting to keep your multiplier up while keeping guys alive as long as possible, because that's going to really maximize your points. But I was just going for the goal, not for breaking any records. So I used a weapon. I used takedowns when I didn't need to. And those are all things that you could think twice about in order to really like milk fighters for all their points. But, in these rooms with only 2 guys, you really want to milk those as much as you can. There's some strategies in some of my other videos for milking for points, but yeah, you want to avoid takedowns. Don't use a weapon as much as I do here, and that will really help you think about, just really milking all these guys for all the points they're worth, which doesn't sound great when I say it out loud. All right, let's go to level 2. Of course, you don't use any shortcuts. You need to find every fighter in the entire level, and you need to eliminate all of them, because that will, of course, help you get a lot of points. And this is sad, because I usually, in this place, I really like throwing this guy off the balcony. Rough. I think I use a Mighty Cowabunga here, because I need to get my multiplier to ×3, and that's a huge tip. You really want to unlock the Mighty Cowabunga for all of these sort of, all of these multiplier and points-based goals. Oh, adios, my friend. It was good knowing you. Your hat's cool. Mine's cooler, but whatever. All right, still on the second level here. This one, again, you may be better off without a weapon and throwing all these lights at them, but I got this goal by accident in some ways. But these are both Sean's disciples, so this would be a lot harder room, like that room in the club with the twins, who are both Sean's disciples in a tiny little room. But this is a big room, so it gives you a lot more opportunity to get him. You can see that his stagger or structure bar. Ooh, oh my God, he just really did some damage. Yeah, so avoid the takedown there. I could have done some sweeps to do a little more damage there. But yeah, we know this guy's combos. On that third one, we can deflect. And that's one way. What you just saw is throwing him around with square and X on PlayStation 5 and then hitting square after that, which I think, those sort of rapid punches, that's a way you can really milk points because you're actually getting points and doing very little damage. So something to think about. In this room, I got a knife, which, does quite a bit of damage. But, you want to thin them out and then you want to milk them for points. So ideally what I would have done is after getting rid of maybe one more person and focusing on them to get rid of them, like right now, I certainly would want to milk points. Like I wouldn't want to do a takedown, probably wouldn't want to use a knife, would just want to use my fist to try and milk points. One thing I'm curious about, if anyone knows, do you know if there's gotta be ways to get the most points out of a guy, and that must include doing as little damage as possible and keeping them as alive as possible. Because there's no way, if you stab a guy and kill him with like one move, there's no way that's as many points as like hitting them with your fist for 5 minutes, right? I think that's probably pretty obvious. But if anyone's done that math, I'd be really curious to look at it. So this is kind of nice because they come in waves a little bit. Ooh, I did get someone to turn into fire rage mode. So that's really, really great. You always want to do that. So you can see here this guy in this sort of blue shirt is someone who has the ability to turn into fire rage mode, and that's really great. They get all their life back. They can take a ton of damage, which means a ton of points for you. And you can see I thinned everyone out. I had the fire rage mode guy, and I milked him for points. I'm milking a lot of people in this, as you can see. Alright, here we are. Level 4. Again, you can't leave any fighter unturned. You gotta verse everyone. That includes the person guarding the mighty Calbit in this area, which is like a throwback to sloclap's last game. Oh, so I took a hit there, which I don't appreciate, but I'm also not surprised. This, ooh, 2 hits though. That's not cool. Yeah, you know, this is a tougher fighter. Another one of like with a lot of Sean Disciples moves. I've got my bat because I really want that staff for the next part of the run through. But you can see I'm avoiding that takedown. Ooh, I dropped the bat. See, that's what you need to do. How do you do that? You hold triangle? I forget all of a sudden. Maybe it's holding L1. But you can drop a weapon, and you just want to get used to doing that, right? Because now I'm going to be able to milk this person for more points. Oh, sweep the leg, Johnny. I'm going to be able to milk this person for more points because I'm not using a weapon. So that's why I said one of my tips is you need to like fight your urges to not use weapons and takedowns and not just eliminate enemies as fast as possible. You know, that's what you can do, especially if you know your multiplier is not at ×3 the whole time. Wow, this was not an easy fight for me. Mighty Cowbit, ×3. And I'm pretty sure you get a lot of points when you finally, or like slightly more points when you finally knock a fighter out, take them down, eliminate them, whatever. So keep that in mind as well. Give me that staff. And that section right there, that's where you unlock the Mighty Cowbit. There's a mask right there you just need to stare at for a couple of seconds. And it'll unlock the focus move Mighty Cowbit, which is huge for these points goals, as well as the like goals where you need to use you need to keep a ×3 multiplier like through an entire room or entire combat scenario. All right, so this room, let's talk about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 fighters. 2 of them are big guys. Forward square is the most amazing move with a staff because it pushes someone really far back and disarms them. It's my go-to move in this room because almost everyone except the 2 big guys have a weapon. So I want to disarm them, but this is also where I want to really just try and thin them out. This person who has this sort of marbly shirt and blue hair, they are a pretty tough fighter. They have more life and more moves than your like regular standard run-of-the-mill fighter. So typically this is what ends up happening. I've got the 2 big guys, the marble shirt person, and I'm just trying to milk them for as many points as I can. But it's tough because with these 3, you can see I get hit. My multiplier is at ×1 for way longer than I would like it to be. I needed to use a takedown. I'm losing life. I actually think I die here. But the 2 big guys, this is your real opportunity to milk it. Like, you really want to keep your multiplier at ×3 and milk it. I died. And it's totally cool if you die. It's not that big of a deal. Just like if you lose your ×3 multiplier for a little bit, it's not that big of a deal. This level is quite forgiving in terms of getting that high score, whereas if you watch the club video, which you definitely should, that's a lot less forgiving. You need to like do a lot more right in the club to get that 22,000 something points. So there you have it. So yeah, now I am gonna milk it with this combo of moves, the pushing and then the rapid strikes. That's one way you can try and milk as many points. Like I said, it keeps them alive and doesn't do a ton of damage, but does accumulate points. But again, that's where I want to know, does it actually accumulate more points than just taking them down at that point? That's some math I wish was a little bit more clear, but at the end of the day, like the simplest thing here, right, is you need to do as much damage as possible with a ×3 multiplier as long as possible. So in that last room, there were plenty of knives, and hopefully you know at this point that this is a guy, if you're just trying to get through this level without worrying about your multiplier or points or just want to eliminate him as fast as possible, that when you have a knife and you walk up to him, he'll give you plenty of time to hold triangle and do a 1-move stab that kills him instantly. And that's good. There are places you can deflect here. Now remember, defense doesn't keep your multiplier and score up. Really only doing damage does. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. yeah, all of those hits, none of them gave me any points, and my multiplier trickled down throughout it. So, which I think that, oh god, ow, dude, ow, knee to the face, kick to the face, punch to the, oh, so like I said, it's not the perfect run through. It's not the perfect run through. You can probably do better. You probably are right now. Wonderful. Well done, Sifu. Almost Sifu. I guess I'm a Sifu at this point, I would say. Probably the best Sifu. Just kidding. Oh, alright, here we are. One of these rooms, I'm pretty sure you can go in and there's some cool art in it. I use weapon durability because, again, it's not really what you need to go for this particular goal of getting as many points as possible. I was doing this just on like a run through where I wasn't necessarily trying to get all the points. Okay, this room. What a fun room this is. So lots of fighters, lots of weapons, lots of opportunity for points. So what I would focus on in this room is the first wave is pretty small, so you want to milk that. You don't need to thin them out. You just want to kind of milk them for as many points as you can. Now this next wave, it's more fighters, and they kind of keep coming, and a few of them have knives. So you do want to thin them out. I typically do that with a knife, because part of thinning them out is eliminating targets so that you can keep your multiplier up and reduce the risk of basically getting hit, because there are so many fighters. Thank good for that like invulnerability window when you're taking someone down. That guy like laced into me just then. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fighters right now. Some of them might disappear in a second here, but yeah, I'm gonna do takedowns. I'm gonna keep thinning them out. Oh man, how did I not see that coming? Mighty Cowbit. Ooh, taunted you. Ooh, and then she swipes me right back. Well, can't say I didn't deserve it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, okay, good, good. Okay, now they disappear, and it's a big guy and two. I don't know what we call the characters with these moves. I'm sure they have a name. There's plenty of them here, and you meet them in the club. But yeah, so I'm going to call them the spinny kick fighters. These spinny kick fighters are, yeah, my tip would be to thin out a little bit here. You can see I like thinned out by getting rid of the big guy pretty quick. And then after that, I mean, this isn't an easy fight. It's really not an easy fight. I just kind of survived it. Clearly not trying to get a ton of points from these two. I think I'm just trying to sort of choose my moments. And because clearly I'm not like focused on one to thin them out. I think I'm just trying to focus on getting my multiplier up and then doing damage, because they just have a lot of life, and that means a lot of points. So good taunt there to get to ×3. Hopefully I don't get kicked. Wow, that was really good. I don't want to say really good. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff, but I struggle with sweeps. Like anytime there's a sweep, I hope that I avoid up and do a good job of opening up that vulnerability window, but I often don't. All right, this is maybe the most. This is the section of the level that has the most opportunity to feel like a complete badass, in my opinion, especially after you get through these two guys who do have quite a bit of life. They're not Sean disciples, but they are better fighters than your typical fighter with a little bit more life. So I come in with a knife from that Downpour room, and then I get that super special knife that is ruthless. It's just a ruthless knife. Like, look how much damage it does with each swipe. Good block. You can see, one of my other, that was not great. One of my other tips from the tips part of the video is, just like keeping one eye on the person whose ass you're kicking, and then another on the other people around there, because you can almost always see which fighter is about to come at you because they start creeping. They start moving a little bit towards you or wind up. And even if you can find that split second, it will help you maybe dodge, avoid, get out of the way, etc. Oh, very satisfying. And just aesthetically, I mean, how cool. I mean, it's just very cool. Ooh, that one gets me every time. It just looks like not a great way to go. Knife to the belly? Ooh, not for me. Not for me. I prefer to go in a vat of peanut butter cups, surrounded by people I love. But yeah, I didn't take a hit in that whole exchange just there. All right, so again, this next guy, ton of life. You got to milk him for all he's worth. I'm saying that way too much. But yeah, typically I go in here and I just one-time stab him and call it quits. But I'm definitely not going to keep my multiplier up the whole time. He's a tough fighter. He's like a level up from a Sean's Disciple, but has mostly Sean Disciple's rooms. Plus, this is like the bodyguard guy from the next level, the tower, right? One of the first guys you come up against, and then there's at least one or two in the sanctuary as well. But they're tough fighters. They're tough fighters because they grab you and knee you in the face. They have some moves plenty of moves you can't block. This next section, which I was always so glad to avoid with the shortcut, of course you cannot in this playthrough. You can see in this video that I pretty much know at this point which fighters are sort of mannequins and which are live action heroes trying to end me. And if you get to them fast enough, you can sneak attack them, which is one hit and then take down. But as you know at this point, that's not what we want to do. We want to keep them alive, milk out their points, and then send them packing, so to speak. Send them packing. Send them packing. Ooh, so I did, yeah, I snuck attack that. I shouldn't have done that. I should just like gingerly walk through this section and try and lure out. Maybe I'm trying to do that now. I've clearly forgotten what direction I'm going in and also who are the people that are fighting. So yeah, I didn't try and sort of sneak attack and take down any of these folks. I just want them to be alive. But I do have my knife still, which is kind of nice. I don't typically because I've stabbed someone at this point. But I am going to take this staff because I like it a little bit more than the knife because of like range, basically. This fight was never my favorite, mostly because I don't want to go up. I just don't want to be around people who have blades for shoes. Like, if I see someone with blades for shoes, I'm going to like, I don't want to F with this person. I assume you have blades on your shoes because you're trying to hurt someone. That's what blades on the shoes tells me. But here we are. Doing my best not to get my butt kicked. That's really what this is. The fact that I have any ×3 multiplier for any of that fight is just a real gift. Because typically they kick my butt. And there we are, 17,000, what was it? It'll show up again here. 17 freaking thousand. 937. So I did not like, this is like not the most impressive score on YouTube by any stretch of the imagination. So check out some other videos. Hopefully this one helped me. I hope it helps me. Hopefully it helped you. My hope is that you will like and subscribe, that you will follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I am doing my damnedest right now to try and get 1,000 subscribers so I can start making money, 50% of which will go to a charity that we choose as a subscriber community. So what that means for you, like if I get 10 grand over the course of a year for my YouTube videos, 5,000 goes to charity, y'all. So the more subscribers, the more money, the more to charity. Peace.